I flew business class on LATAM Airlines from Santiago to Los Angeles. It was booked through Delta Airlines. The flight did not leave until just before midnight, so I had a few hours to kill at the airport in the LATAM lounge. This LATAM lounge is brand new, and I was quite impressed. When you enter, there are 3 desks because there are 3 tiers of LATAM lounges. I was directed to the signature lounge. When I arrived, there were only a few people in the lounge, so it was very peaceful. The interior is beautifully designed. It is somewhat industrial in terms of materials, such as overhead grills, but it had a warm and comfy atmosphere. I looked for a place with an electrical outlet and discovered they were by every seat. The outlets worked for USB, European, and US plugs. There were work tables, leather sofas, and cozy chairs. I had just eaten dinner and was sorry I did. This lounge had the best display of food I have ever seen in a lounge. There were numerous proteins on the buffet, including filet mignon. There was an extensive salad bar, a beverage station, and a refrigerated case of various desserts. The circular bar was situated central to the room and had about a dozen bar stools. I topped off my stomach despite my previous dinner and comfortably relaxed for a couple hours. I visited the washroom before I left and discovered individual toilet stalls with a bench, sink, and mirror. It was easy to roll a carry-on bag inside, so if you needed to change clothes, the bench was a nice touch. As I was leaving, I discovered a pretty awesome children's room. It was separated from the rest of the lounge and looked like a stimulating environment for the kids. This was definitely the nicest lounge I have ever enjoyed and made my long wait comfy and calming. Upon boarding, we were allowed into the jet bridge after they randomly inspected bags, but then we stood in the jet bridge for some time before they allowed us onto the plane. Once on board, I discovered my seat was right by the door. I had booked seat 4D and had chosen a middle seat because the seats are in a 2-2-2 configuration, and I didn't want to have to step over anyone to use the toilet or have anyone stepping over me. When I arrived, there were 2 bags in the seat, slippers on the bench, and headphones in a little alcove. This seat layout was very similar to the Delta One flight I took to Santiago, except they had an open space under the bench rather than a cupboard, which I preferred. I have a small wheeled bag that I usually put under the seat in front of me, but that wouldn't work here, so I emptied out what I needed and put the bag in the overhead bin, where there was plenty of space. To my right side was a small bin that had a water bottle and an amenity kit. When I pulled out the amenity kit, I noticed a tethered remote control underneath it. The armrest lifted up to give you better access to the cubby beneath it. There was an individual reading light on the middle console. The amenity kit included the usual items such as a sleep mask, earplugs, toothbrush, toothpaste, lip balm, and lotion. I liked the bag it came in, which was a waterproof cosmetic bag. The pillow and quilt came in separate bags that encouraged you to recycle them. I appreciated the idea that they would launder and reuse the bags rather than create more waste. The toilet was rather small, nothing special here. The plane left on time, and shortly afterward they started a meal service. After eating so much in the airport lounge and at dinner, I decided to decline a meal. It was midnight, and I just couldn't see eating a full meal and really just wanted to get some sleep. They dimmed the lights almost immediately after takeoff, so I made the bed with the quilt, their medium-sized pillow, and my own travel pillow. At 5'5", I had a good foot of extra space when I laid down. The advantage of this 2-2-2 layout is that the bed is longer and wider. I found sleeping to be much more comfortable than the business class cubicles that confine your feet into a triangle. I woke before they started serving breakfast and watched some TV. The screen is a bit small for how far away it is from you, and the remote control is required since you can't reach it with your seatbelt on. I actually prefer the touchscreen TVs as they are quicker and easier to use. LATAM had the same entertainment options as Delta, which has hundreds of options in terms of movies, TV shows, games, and music. They started serving breakfast about 90 minutes before we landed. There were 2 options. I chose the omelet, which came with fruit and a croissant. The food was decent, nothing exceptional. The tray table is substantial and gives you plenty of room for your food tray. Now, I must say a quick word about the service, which was excellent. The flight attendants all seemed to go out of their way to make sure you were comfortable. So how do I rate my overall experience on this LATAM flight? The pros: excellent service, wide seat and bed, good amenities. The cons: no privacy, TV and storage items are out of reach with the seatbelt on. And frankly, it seemed louder than other planes. I wondered if the front cabin of seats 1 through 3 were quieter. Because I flew on Christmas Day, the price of this business class seat was about 1/5 the usual price. Anytime I can travel in a long-haul flight in a lie-flat seat, I'm happy. Would I fly them again? Absolutely. And if you'd like to follow more of my senior and solo travel journeys, please subscribe. Cheers.